You are officially the most lethal scientific experiment on the planet. But the real kicker, your own body, is the first thing trying to kill you from the inside out. Welcome to the existential nightmare of being an Indominus Rex, where even your own creators view you as an absolute freak of nature. And honestly, they're not exactly wrong. Act 1. The Twisted Birth. Your life didn't start with a protective mother or a cozy nest. You were spawned in a sterile, white laboratory in 2012. The scientists used a T-Rex as your genetic baseline. Then, they threw in some Velociraptor, a dash of Carnotaurus, a sprinkle of Giganotosaurus, plus a laundry list of other terrifying names. But for these mad scientists, that wasn't enough. They spliced in cuttlefish genes to make you grow at a terrifying rate, tree frog DNA to hide your body heat from infrared sensors, and rattlesnake genes so you could literally see heat, because apparently, a standard apex predator dinosaur just wasn't scaring people anymore. What could possibly go wrong with this genetic cocktail? Act 2. The Sibling on the Menu. You weren't born an only child. You had a sister. Sounds sweet, right? Wrong. Before you even hit your 3rd birthday, you cannibalized your only living relative. And here's the most tragic part of your psychology. Those raptor genes they engineered into you gave you a desperate, primal craving for a pack, for a family. But instead, they threw you into solitary confinement inside Paddock 11, essentially a dinosaur supermax prison. No friends, no family, just you, trapped with your own chaotic thoughts, wondering why your body feels so profoundly broken. Act 3. Growing pains on steroids. The worst part? You were growing at a violently accelerated rate. The lab coats used that cuttlefish DNA to pump you up like a dinosaur on illegal steroids. By 2015, you were already pushing over 12 meters long. That forced growth spurt caused agonizing physical pain. Your bones, muscles, and organs were screaming at your DNA to slow down. But corporate didn't care. The theme park needed its flashy new attraction ready for the summer tourist rush. And that's all you were to them, a commodity. A monster manufactured to make kids cry and parents open their wallets. Management literally corporate ordered something with more teeth because regular dinosaurs just weren't exciting the shareholders anymore. Act 4. Weaponized from day one. Here's the ultimate betrayal. While tourists were snapping selfies outside your glass, InGen executives were taking notes on how to turn you into a weapon. You weren't bred to be a park attraction. You were engineered to be an aggressive, hyper-intelligent, stealth-killing machine. Unsurprisingly, you developed severe psychological issues, isolated, in constant physical pain, growing too fast, and flooded with the clashing instincts of a dozen different animals. You didn't even know what you were. As Owen Grady clinically put it, she doesn't know what she is. She's learning her place in the food chain. Act 5. A glitched biology. Let's talk about your anatomy. Your eyes are pure Velociraptor, forward-facing with slit pupils. That's an elite evolutionary trait if you're the size of a raptor. It's a massive design flaw when you're a multi-ton behemoth. Scientists call this a genetic artifact, which is just a fancy corporate term for we screwed up. And it gets worse. Thanks to that pit viper DNA, you also have pit organ thermal vision. Your brain is forced to process 2 entirely different visual feeds of the world simultaneously, and they never properly align. No wonder you live in a perpetual state of blinding rage. Then there's your ultimate party trick, active camouflage. Turning invisible burns through a ridiculous amount of metabolic energy. For a beast your size, changing color is the caloric equivalent of running a full marathon. T-Rex legs, elongated arms with 4 claws and opposable thumbs, Carnotaurus horns, and armored scutes from God knows what. Nothing fits. You are a walking glitch. Act 6. Too smart for your own good. The most tragic element of your existence is that you are intelligent enough to realize how unnatural you are. Thanks to that raptor DNA, your cognitive processing rivals the smartest creatures on Earth. Simon Masrani even found himself wondering if you were capable of contemplating your own existence. Act 7. The perfect breakout to nowhere. After years of rotting in dinosaur solitary, you finally outsmarted the primates running the joint. You intentionally clawed up the paddock walls to fake a physical escape, then utilized your thermal masking and camouflage to vanish into the shadows of your enclosure. When they walked right into your trap to investigate, surprise, you were there the whole time. Owen Grady saw right through it after the fact. She marked the wall as a distraction. She wanted us to think she got out. You didn't just escape. You tricked the humans into handing over the keys. But freedom is a hollow victory when your mind is a chaotic mess of genetic static. You clawed your own tracking implant right out of your flesh. That must have hurt like hell, but pain was your baseline anyway. You finally got what every prisoner dreams of: total liberty. But then what? You had absolutely no idea how to use it. You never learned how to be a real dinosaur. You didn't know how to hunt naturally, and you had zero social skills. Act 8. Violence as a language. So you did the dinosaur equivalent of a psychotic breakdown, except your temper tantrums level infrastructure. You crushed a gyrosphere with kids inside, then slaughtered an entire herd of apatosaurs and just left their bodies to rot in the sun. You didn't eat a single bite, you just murdered them. Why would an apex predator kill without feeding? Owen chalked it up to killing for sport, but it was deeper than that. You weren't playing a game, you were testing the limits of your reality, testing your strength, testing the world, trying to figure out where your broken puzzle piece fit. And when you smashed into the aviary, unleashed a swarm of pterosaurs, and caused the helicopter crash that incinerated Simon Masrani, was that a calculated tactical play or just pure unhinged chaos? Either way, you were a masterpiece at creating hell. Act 9. A toxic alliance. Then came the moment that should have changed everything. You crossed paths with the Raptor Squad. Finally, creatures that shared a piece of your DNA. For the first time in your life, you could actually speak to someone. You threw out those vocalizations, and they understood. You completely hijacked their hierarchy, usurping Owen Grady to become their new alpha. Was this finally the pack connection you were starving for? Not even close. This alliance wasn't built on family. You were looking for foot soldiers, because deep down, that's exactly what your blueprints dictated. Vic Hoskins and Dr. Wu didn't construct you to sell theme park tickets. You were a prototype for a black-budget military bioweapon. And in the end, even your soldiers mutinied, choosing their human handler over you. The truth is, the deck was stacked against you from day one. You were engineered to be a weapon, locked away in total darkness, and when you finally broke your chains, you had no model for how to exist. You only knew destruction, because that's the only thing they ever expected from you. Act 10. The final showdown. No monster movie is complete without a massive third-act showdown, and yours came with not one, but 3 prehistoric heavyweights. You made it all the way to the Jurassic World Main Street, leaving a trail of absolute devastation in your wake. The park was in ruins, and you were about to face 3 distinct forces of nature all at once. Talk about unfair odds. First up, raptors. Remember your brief little pack? They chose Owen over you. One final bitter rejection. Instead of backing you up, they aggressively turned on you. There went your last shot at a family. You effortlessly killed Delta and Echo, but Blue just kept coming back for more. Just when you thought you had the upper hand, Claire Deering unleashed your ultimate nightmare. Rexy, the original queen of the island, dragged out of retirement just to put you in the ground. You gave the aging T-Rex a massive run for her money. You were seconds away from winning, but Blue charged back in for round 2. Suddenly, you were fighting a brutal 2-front war. They coordinated their assault, driving you back step by step, right to the edge of the Jurassic World lagoon. Just as you were cornered, trying to find an opening to flip the script, the Mosasaurus erupted from the depths, locked its massive jaws around your neck, and dragged you down into a watery grave.